Rangers Journal.
Hello and welcome to the Rangers Journal. My name is Kai Watson and today I'm going to look at 5 strikers I think the Rangers could sign this summer. Obviously looking at the striking situation, it's quite depressing just now. Danilo has obviously just come back off a long injury, so can kind of give a bit of leeway to him, but there's really no excuse for Cyriel to be carrying on his performances from last season, still missing chance upon chance. I think Rangers really need to improve in that kind of area, especially since Philippe Clement's come out and said that Igamane's not going to be ready. It doesn't look like he'll be ready for the end of the season. Not been seen in any pre-season friendlies, not been seen in any kind of team training pictures, so I don't know how long it's going to be before he's involved. But I think at this stage, especially if we're looking to sell Dessers and Lammers, going to have to look at some strikers. So I've compiled a list of 5, looked at various different kind of countries and regions, and these are 5 players that I think could really improve the forward line and get us goals next season. So let's get started. First up, going to take a trip to South America to look at Augustine 21-year-old Argentine striker who's 6'2", currently plays for Rosario Central. Transfer market valued at around 1.25 million. Look at some of his stats for the start of the season. So 6 matches, 5 from the start. Scored 3 goals, 133 minutes per goal, 0.67 goals per 90, 27% conversion rate. He's got 25% dribble success per 90, foul 1.58 times per 90, 1.12 final third pressures per 90, so obviously means that he wins the ball high up the pitch, and 45% duels. When you can look at kind of the percentiles on the right hand side there, he's only 1% of players have scored more goals than him so far, only 10% have won more aerial duels, and only 13% with more defensive actions. It's obviously currently a small sample size, but Modica's a strong, powerful striker. Obviously, the conversion rate is brilliant at 27%. Wouldn't expect to keep that up throughout the season, but at 21 years old, he's kind of breaking out and breaking through. It's a type of player we probably could take a risk on, maybe not as the first choice striker, but again, if depends on where Igamane is really and how long it's going to take him to get settled. We're not going to be able to just run with him and Danilo, so we're potentially looking at having to bring in 2 strikers if Lammers and Dessers do go. Because again, we can't just rely on having Danilo and Igamane there. So again, I think Modica is a good option. He's young, wouldn't break the bank. He's been on fire at the start of the season, and again, good finisher, strong, powerful striker. So I think he's an interesting option. Again, like I say, maybe not as the main number 9, but definitely as an option to back up either a main striker or Danilo. Moving on to someone that definitely could come in as a first choice striker. So Erik Botheim, 24-year-old Norwegian, 5'11", currently plays for Malmo. Transfer market value at just under 3 million. Let's look at his stats at the start of the season. 16 games, 15 starts, 9 goals and 5 assists, 137 minutes per goal, 0.66 goals per 90, 24% conversion rate, 83.3% dribble success per 90, foul 1.02 times per 90, and then the 0.87 final third pressures per 90, 41.3% duels won as well. It's a striker that people will obviously know from his time at Bodo Glimt. He obviously went to Italy when Rangers were actually linked to him. He went to Salernitana. Didn't have the best of time there. He's ended up back in Scandinavia, but this time in Sweden with Malmo. Just a brilliant all-round striker. Again, he's got pace, he's got power, he presses well. Obviously, coming from that Bodo Glimt team, that was exactly what they done. They pressed high up, they won the ball high, created loads of chances, and that's the type of style he's kind of used to playing. It's the type of style I'm sure a lot of Rangers fans want to see us play, and I just think he's a genuinely quality striker. And he only joined in February, so I'm not sure how that works with registration rules, but I think it would be fine considering the start of a new Swedish season. I'm sure he would be allowed to sign for a new club. So even if it does cost that 3 million, if you're looking anywhere upwards to 5-6 million, I think it would be a bargain. You've kind of seen the heights he hit with Bodo Glimt, looking at the numbers he's got for Malmo already this season. Got 14 goal contributions in 15 starts. Again, the 137 minutes per goal, 24% conversion rate, again, is really high. Obviously not as high as Modica, but it's a larger sample size, which makes it all the more impressive in my opinion. He's just the exact type of striker I think we need. He can press, he can move around, he's mobile, he's good on the ball, we can hold the ball up. The exact type of striker that Rangers need, and is what we've wanted from Dessers up until this point, and we've not got. So I just think he's one of the better options out there, and probably one of the best value for money as well. It just all depends on what kind of Malmo would want for him, and if he's willing to come. It might be a case of it all depends on European football. If we can bring in players like that, or they might want to stay in Scandinavia. Obviously, he didn't have a good time in Italy, and he's managed to get back closer to home. So it all depends on the player again. But I think value for money wise, if you can get someone like him for 5 or 6 million, it's just such a good deal. It's an absolute bargain, and I think he's like I said, one of the best options out there on the market to come in as a first choice striker. Another really interesting option, and again one I think could come in and be first choice, is Kevin Carlos, 23-year-old Spaniard, 6'2", currently plays for Yverdon Sport in Switzerland. Transfer market value at 1.7 million. Look at his stats from last season. So 35 appearances, 23 starts, 14 goals and 4 assists, 161 minutes per goal, 0.56 goals per 90, 17% conversion rate, 36.2% dribble success per 90, foul 1.95 times per 90, 0.72 final third pressures per 90, and 42.4% duels won. Big, strong, powerful striker that gets himself about and can finish. I think he's a really interesting option. You look at, again, the percentiles on the right hand side: 88% for shot attempts, 83% for goals, 76% for defensive actions, 82% aerial duels won, and 51% for chances created as well. He can kind of do it all. He holds up the ball really well, gets others involved, he can create chances, he can score goals. He's only 23. I don't think you're going to get him for the transfer market value there, but again, I think he could be a potential bargain if you're looking at 3-4 million for a 23-year-old just coming back off a really good season. Big, strong, powerful striker, something that we don't have, something that we thought Dessers might be able to be, but let's face it, he's not powerful. He might have a bit of strength, but he's not the most athletic. He doesn't kind of move about the way you'd want him to. He doesn't hold up the ball you would want him to. He gets bullied off of opposition defenders. Where you stick someone like Kevin Carlos up there, especially against the kind of Scottish Premiership defences, he's going to put himself about. He's going to win those aerial duels. He's going to get those flick-ons. He's going to create for others, hold the ball up, bring them into play. Only 23, I think he's developing really well in his career. So I think this would be a really good time to get him. And again, I do think he's good enough to be first choice striker. Just looking at that transition from Swiss football to Scottish football, which hasn't always worked out well for players. But again, I think it's worth a risk if you're looking at 2-3 million. It's the type of money we paid for Hamza Igamane, who's obviously not ready, whereas I think Kevin Carlos is, and that's what makes him a good option. The next player's been one of the surprise packages in Sweden this season. So Yousef Salech, 22-year-old Dane, 6'4", currently plays for Cyriel. Transfer market have been valued at 1.5 million. 14 matches this season, started them all. 9 goals and 2 assists, 140 minutes per goal, 0.64 goals per 90, 18% conversion, 33.3 success per 90, foul 1.71 times per 90, 0.36 final third pressures per 90, and 49.5% duels won. Again, another big, powerful striker who's been on fire in front of goal this season. Again, he's the same as Botheim. He only joined in February, so I'm sure there's ways around that, especially with their season starting to wait, as I think the registration works a bit differently. But please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments and that is not true, because if that's the case, obviously these two players that we wouldn't be able to target. But I do think it depends on when the league starts instead of the year for when you can register if you've played for other teams. But just looking at him, obviously, like I say, he's been on fire in front of goal this season. Only 8% of strikers have scored more than him. Only 6% with more shot attempts. And again, the aerial duels won. He's an 86% in defensive actions, 87%. So kind of shows how he gets about, how he conducts his business. He's another player that's going to hold the ball up. I wouldn't say he's hold up plays as good as the likes of Botheim or Kevin Carlos that we've mentioned so far. But again, he's 6'4". He's going to be an absolute menace. When was the last time we had a tall striker? You kind of seen the clamour on Twitter for it when Whitehorse was linked, and obviously having a type of striker like him that's 6'6" and puts himself about. It's not going to suit every manager, but it's a different option at the end of the day. And it's something that we don't have. We've not had a striker that's been brilliant in the air for the longest time. Like Morelos scored plenty of headers, but obviously with his height, he's not that kind of constant threat of getting the flick on. You're looking at someone that's probably similar to the likes of Dado Purso and the kind of absolute carnage he caused in there with flick ons and scoring headers within the box. That's what you're looking at. With Salech, again, he might not be the most ready to step in and be the first choice. This is his first good spell in a couple of years. He had a struggled spell at Beveren on loan when he went back to Bromby, and then he was sold to Sirius, and he's been on fire the start of this season. So if he can keep that form up, he's definitely a good option to look at. Decent conversion rate, decent kind of goals per minute, and again, he's just that option that will hold the ball up, put himself about, and give us something different up front. Last one I'm going to look at is a player I've already covered before. So Tommy Conway, 21-year-old Scottish international, 5'10", plays for Bristol City. Transfer market I'm valued at 3.3 million, but his contract is expiring next summer. And I don't think there's been any truth in it, but there were rumours going about that he was available for as little as 400k. I would imagine if that was the case, someone would already have put in a bid just now, but I've not heard anything about that since. Looking at his key stats, so 39 appearances in the Championship, 27 from the start, 10 goals and 1 assist from a 9.28 XG, 19% conversion rate, 209 minutes per goal contribution, 42.9% dribble success, fill 0.9 times per 90, 33.2% duels won, 14.1% aerial duels won. Obviously, those duel numbers are kind of worrying, especially when we've looked at the kind of strong, powerful, big strikers that will win flick-ons. But what Tommy Conway does give you is a bundle of pace and energy. He's been an absolute menace to defenders. He just puts himself about in the way that he's not weak in any sense, but he's not as strong and kind of physical as some of the other players that we've mentioned so far. But again, bundle of pace, bundle of energy, good finisher in front of goal. He's on the way up. He's only 21. He's just recently, obviously, been capped for Scotland. I think he should have maybe got at least a bit more time in the Euros, give him the chance to kind of show what he can do because he has a different option again with that pace, ability to run in behind. He does hold the ball up well. He does link up play well, and he can obviously play in the wide areas as well with his ability on the ball and his pace. So it's a different option to what we have. I think he probably is good enough to come in and start for Rangers, if I'm honest, from what I've seen at Bristol City. I don't think he's the most kind of clinical striker. I don't know if he is a type of player that's going to get you 30 goals a season. He's not done it in his career so far, but I think being the main man, I think he deserves a chance to do that. And again, like I say, I don't think there's any truth in the 400k rumours, but if that is the case, I think it's one the club should be all over, especially with his contract expiring in a year. I think he could potentially be available for a bargain price. So those are five strikers I think could do a job for Rangers this season. I think they're all strikers that would provide goals, be an absolute menace to Scottish Premiership defences in different ways. Some with their physicality, some with their pace, some with their pressing, some just with their sheer size and ability to win headers. Again, different options to what we have just now. We don't really have anything going up front, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But these are players I think could definitely improve the forward line. If you've got any more, please leave in the comments down below and let me know what you think of these players. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and have a great day.